Good morning, everybody. Or as Intimate Tech says, hey people and non-people. How's everyone going? Hey Flynn. So, I've upgraded my coffee mug. I got a, this is an espresso brand. Got a freebie travel cup, which is pretty ironic that I got a travel cup for free and I can't travel anywhere because I'm in lockdown. That's pretty funny. But, so this is I haven't drunk out of it yet. This is my first time. I'm hoping it'll keep my coffee warmer for longer. Here we go. Okay, that's hot still. And it's going to slurp. I'm going to slurp. I'm sorry. Apologies in advance for slurping my coffee. I think it's burnt my tongue. Yeah, that's a little difficult to drink. That's okay. Probably not a stream cup. So, let's get this underway. I'm going to do a quick roll call. And Rat Madness is second. I don't know who was first. So, Rat Madness, hello. Jerry. Amuri. Oh, wow. Can't talk this morning. Here we go. Bad start to the day. Azzy, hello. Cable Tie. Christopher White, hi. Oh, I got a message that I'm live streaming in 30 minutes. I think it's wrong. I think YouTube got that one wrong. Rob, hello. Graham, good morning. X-Conundrum, hello. Joe Velasco. Hello, Mike. Mike and Cable Tie, both of them must have wet the bed again this morning. Hey, Christian. I'm sure I've missed a whole bunch of chat that was earlier, I think. Sorry about that. Yumbo Prime, hi. Hello, Mark Olson. Albert, hi. David Boyd. Paul. Andy Calloway, hello. Bruce Segal, hello. David Dessa. Crazy Roops. I don't know why I changed my voice like that. And Flynn, already said hi to Flynn. Intimate Tech, hello. Hey, Johnny. Excuse me. Hi, Yasir. Mr. Tada. Again, with the Tada sound and windows in my head. Maya Makes is here. Hello. Hey, Clem. How you doing? Hey, Daryl. Hello, Brian. That's Brian Webb, just in case anyone thinks I'm talking about Brian Locke. Hello, Nick. AKA Soggy Buns. Hi. Yeah, I'm just doing DY because I know we spoke about this last week and I can't remember again. I've had a really rough week. Hi, Dirk. Hi, Fred. Hello, John. Hi, Stephen. And Steve. The next video is going to be a review of the cup. I don't think the cup warrants a review, to be honest with you. Tell us the news. Oh, I will. I absolutely will. You might not have seen this. Yeah, the magic mirror on Romper Room. Yeah, I'm doing the looking through the magic mirror, saying hi to all the kiddies. Hello, Richard S from ESP8266. That's a really long name. Colin Hickey, hello. Braden, hi. Benjamin, hello. Henrik. Mihao. Mihauda. Yep, sorry. Was that even funny remotely? Kai, hello. Teplatronics. Amos! Hello, Embedded Hobbyist. How are you, Amos? Hope you're well. Ray, hi. Seriously, I'm going to keep slurping my coffee. Julian, yo. Hey, Andy Day. It's got a really, you can't see, or maybe you can, it's got a really tall lip thing when the coffee comes out, and I'm going to, if I just pour it in my mouth, I'm going to burn my mouth. Anyway, wow, technical issues. Hello, Daytech Electronics. I was waiting for the lid of the cup to come off. No, don't do that. It's a screw-in. It's a screw-in lid, so it's not going to come off. No. Bleach Track, hello. No fancy latte in glass. So, I love my my double wall glass cups. I really do. But my coffee gets cold too quickly, so I'm going to try this. I got it for free with my last coffee order. I'm going to try it, see how long it keeps the coffee warm. Hello, Dave Darko. The maker. 3 more people. 3 more people. Waff. What? All the news is about my coffee mug. Hey, Simon. Yep, that's it. You worked it out. Everybody, my big news is I've got a new coffee mug. So I'm just all's well here. Yeah, yes. I don't want to keep. Let's not talk about that today, Amos, because wow, I will just lose my shit if I. Let's not do it. Let's not do it. Hey, Kevin. My boss slipped out of my hands while writing. That's really funny. Hello, Christian. So, for those who didn't catch it, MakerCast was hosted on Dave Darko's channel on Monday, and it was pretty cool. It was pretty fun. I couldn't stay for all of it. I stayed for most of it. It was a long one. It was, I think, am I right? It was the second longest one ever. So that's pretty cool. Hello, Soul. Before the coffee cup gets a nano and a temp sensor and controller. I thought about that a few times. Hey, Alex. Did you cool things? Hi. Yeah, it's an espresso mug. It's not the free mug that I thought I was going to get. The picture looked different. I prefer the mug in the picture. Okay, let's get this show on the road. Hello, Kevin. No worries, mate. I'm glad you got it working. Yeah, it's the old submodule update thing. Gets me all the time. I always forget as well. Hey, Tim. Yeah, you hosted both the longest ones, haven't you, Dave Darko? There you go. Records will get broken. Okay, so let's start. I've been slammed this week. That's why I've got nothing planned. I really tried to find something to do on my stream for you all today, but I honestly couldn't. My brain was mush. So for those that missed it, would have been hard to miss. Hello, Ian. Ooh, excuse me. And hello, David. Apple TV, YouTube said it was on at 4 a.m. Oh no. Thankfully there's a replay. So, for those that missed it, I launched my Feather S2s. Feather S2, here's a 2-pack, Feather S2. I launched them. And it was wild, and I ran out in my first 24 hours. Which is great. It's great, yay. Perfect stream to learn FPGAs then. Oh, it's in a box. Anyway. And so, yeah, that was really wild. And so I was scrambling to building more Feather S2s. And I didn't even get my website finished in time. Yeah, I got some coverage on CNX, which is nice, and Hackster.io and some other places. Yes, I managed to ship out everyone's order on the first day, which was great. And yeah, I spent that evening on the pick and place machine making a second batch, which I've now got. They're my last 2 of my second batch. So, guess who's firing up the pick and place again today? Yay! So I've been slammed. I spent, no joke, 7 hours on Sunday packing orders. 7 whole hours. So, I mean, Brian's discussed this before. I wonder if his ears are burning. We've spoken about this on MakerCast and stuff. And he did his blog post about it as well. You know, the whole like making and selling stuff and all that is really cool. And, you know, we still have to do a whole discussion about it all. I still want to do that. But no one ever talks about how long it takes to actually ship stuff. Like it was like 7 hours. And then after that, I had to fire up the pick and place. Anyway, that's exciting. And then I finally got my website finished. And it's one of the worst websites I've ever made. Where is it? No. There we go. So I put together just a one-page website for it. So at least the website is live now. Not that there's really a lot on there. There's just FAQs. And for those that haven't worked it out yet, Adafruit are going to be stocking my Feather S2. Their first shipment is on the way to them. And that's exciting. So thanks, Julian. The website's fine. It's not my best work. I'm finding that I'm spending more time building websites these days than I ever have, which is pretty ironic. But yeah, Adafruit are going to be stocking my the ARM shop. Yes, it's the ARM shop. And we've got some FAQs, and I'm shipping with CircuitPython, shipping with Beta 1. Beta 2 just came out, but it's only a bug fix for that matrix thing. I will talk about that as well, Flynn, sure. And I'm going to keep, as more betas come out, I'll keep updating what version I'm pushing out. Yeah, so that's up now. And that's kind of cool because I put, let's see if this works. On my cards, I kind of had to do that. I put a QR code. All my cards have got QR codes now. See, anyone want to scan that? It might be too compressed. I don't know. I'm trying to hold it still. Anyway, are us. So I'm transitioning my logo. For those that hadn't worked it out, I am transitioning my logo. See, there's on the bottom. I'm getting rid of the saw. Let's face it, I'm not doing much woodworking these days, although I'm about to start. I'm going to be doing a lot of woodworking. Sorry about the noise. So I'm transitioning my logo over. So that was the first news. That was pretty wild. And so what happened was, and I'm like, this is not me complaining. I was super excited about it, but really sad. And you'll get why in a moment. So I sold out of my Feather S2s, and at the same time I sold out of my Whoppers. And at the same time I sold out of my Nanos. And at the same time I pretty much sold out of my Tiny Picos. I've got 2 Tiny Picos left. So that's exciting. Like, that's pretty cool. Very happy about that. But very sad. Because I have to build everything again on that. I now have to replenish all my stock, right? So it's a nice problem to have, but I have to build it on this. And, I mean, we all know why that's shit, right? And here's why it's so sad. Because I bought myself a Neoden 8. I bought the Neoden 8. Yes! I caved, and I did it. And I'm not going to get it till November. So I've paid for a Neoden 8, and I still have to build all my stock on my Charm High. That sucks! That sucks. My patrons knew that I... Oh, hi, Ollie. I'm just looking through the window at my kids. Yeah, my patrons know. So this only just happened last week. Basically, the big last run I did of Feather S2s on my pick and place machine, and a run of Nanos I did, my last Nanos, was a disaster. It was absolutely... So on my Nano run, I did 2 panels, and on both times, halfway through the first board, the Y-axis skipped. Hi, Flynn. Hi, Ollie. My kids are outside in the cold on the back deck waving at me. The Y-axis skipped, and all the parts got shifted 2 millimeters backwards. And I had to hand fix every part. And I didn't know because the board had started. I always place the first 4 parts and check them and make sure they're fine, and then let it run. And because I can only, through the camera on the machine, check the first board. I can't tell it to go to another board because the the way it works, the array system that does multi-board on the panel only knows about one board and then multiplies them out. Birthday chocolate for Orly. Thanks, Mark. It was Orly's birthday last week. Thank you. Oh, now she's seen that. Now I have to buy her chocolate. Damn. So, yeah, basically 20 boards per panel twice destroyed the board. 2mm. That's like more than an 0402. Quick 20-second recap and future of pick and place machines. Okay, I will. I'm going to show you what I got. So, yes, I bought the Neoden 8. And, of course, I picked 2 days before China goes on holiday for a week. Like Neoden went on holidays for a week. So they're not even going to start building my pick and place machine until next week. It's going to take like 8 weeks to get here. But I think it's a 5-week build and then 3 weeks or so shipping and stuck on the wharves and stuff. Can use a charm high for a sideline business, making jigsaw puzzles. I could use it, like if I found a product that needed random placement, then I could use it. We're the pick and place family. Hound questions. Once you have the Neoden working, you could have fun trying to make the charm high work. I don't know if I'd want... Yeah, okay, so we'll get onto that. Now you have to wait until Christmas to get it. Yeah, it's going to be a while. And the reason I couldn't delay anymore. So I did originally tell Johnny, thank you. It's sec time again, apparently. So I originally said I wasn't going to buy a new one until I got to see it physically, right? Well, there is a machine that's on its way, and it'll be in Sydney middle of October, maybe the 3rd week of October. But we're still in lockdown. There's no chance I'm going to be able to get to Sydney, at least in October, maybe November, maybe. But even if I could get there the end of October to see the machine, I'm not going to get to see it up and running properly yet. I'm not going to get to see it running my boards. I don't know what it will be running, so I don't know what I'll be able to see. But if I waited till that to order... Oh, my machine fan is kicking in. Is that Dropbox being silly again? Yep. So, guys, I'm just going to quit Dropbox. My Dropbox is being naughty this morning. Then I wouldn't get a machine until January, and I can't wait that long. Hey, Jovan, product for random pick and place. Yeah, we need a product for random pick and place. The choc chip placer for Emma's cookies. Sure, I don't know if I'd want to cook food on that. Say Mythbusters type destruction explosion. Okay, so let's talk about what I got. So for those that haven't seen it or don't know what it is, let me just switch browser screen. So this is the Neoden 8. That's what it looks like. It's called Neoden 8. They call it an 1830, K1830. I don't know why. The Neoden 7 was called a 7. Everyone refers to this as a Neoden 8, but it's the K1830. Since you get Colin first to help launch the Charm High. It's too heavy to launch. Heck, Lord, no worries. My old pick and... Which one? So the very first pick and place I got, I sold because I bought the S1. The S1 got delivered faulty, got damaged, had to go back. Couldn't be fixed or replaced. It eventually was fixed, but back at the distributor. It was too late by then. And so because of that, I ordered the Charm High. I wasn't happy ordering the Charm High, but I didn't really have a choice at the time. And it was a disaster, as everyone knows. And I still can't get it to be reliable. Not reliable enough for me. Look, this machine might work, the Charm High might work fine for someone else who is just doing larger components. 0805, ICs and stuff. But if you're doing any QFN, fine pitch, 0402, even occasionally 0603, it's just not reliable, repeatable enough for me. Not for production. Like if you're doing just, the odd board every day, 1 or 2 boards, it might be fine. But I can't do production on it. I can't run 2 panels and have them turn out exactly the same as each other. It's just really frustrating. Does the Charm High... No pick and place does... Well, none of these machines do through hole. You can get... Yeah, I saw Pomeroni's new pick and place machine. Slightly different league to the... The Europlace is a bit of a different league to the Neoden 8. So the Neoden 8... So it's Neoden's new flagship machine. And they've got quite a few of them out in the wild now. So it's a proven machine. It's got 8 feeders. Sorry, 8 feeders. It's got 8 heads on it. The key thing for this is it takes pneumatic and electric feeders. So all my pneumatic feeders will work on it. I don't have to buy new pneumatics. we'll get to see if the issues with my pneumatics was the machine or the feeders, right, when I put them on this machine. And I can also put my electric hybrids on this machine as well. So I've bought the machine without any new feeders. I did buy, or I'm getting a Neoden threw in a vibration feeder for me, so I don't have to hand place all my little connectors anymore. I'll be able to do the tubes. Will they install it and set it up? No, they won't. It'll get shipped to me and I'll be installing it because we're in lockdown, B, travel, and they don't need to. It's pretty much a plug in and go. So yeah, it holds 66 electric feeder positions, so 6 more than this machine, which is kind of good because the vibration feeder uses 3 positions. It does 0201 reliably, apparently at full speed. Neoden's not an AU company, no. Neoden is in China. There is a Neoden US, but they're actually not Neoden. Well, they're a distributor for Neoden. So this is Neoden USA. So that's the Neoden 8. Oops. So it does 16,000 components per hour at maximum speed, right? It'll never run at that speed. Now, I'm running mine right now at 1,400 components per hour. So this, even if it only runs at 10,000, is still going to be 4 times faster than what I'm running mine. Plus, it's got 8 heads. Hope no one drops it in transit. I hope not. It's pretty heavy. It's thankfully it's on wheels. Yeah. So what's unique about this? I'll wait for the unexpected. Yeah, of course I'm going to do stacks of videos on this. Absolutely. Absolutely. I can't wait to be able to do some really cool videos of actual reliable and good pick and placing. So what's unique about this is that you can't see where I'm pointing. There's 2 cameras on the sides of the nozzles. How do I get I want to get a big picture. Right, you can see here where my mouse is, that here and that here, they're both cameras. And it uses those for alignment, right, to work out where it is. And then everything is done through this camera. And what's unique about this, because a lot of other pick and places you see, if they've got, for instance, 6 heads, they'll have 6 up cameras, or 8 heads, they'll have 8 up cameras. The problem with those is that requires the camera, the pick and place head to move and stop for the cameras, and then to continue. And it's that move and stop, and then start up again, deceleration and acceleration, that can make parts move. And so what Neoden have done with this is pretty amazing, is that the camera is such a high-speed camera that the pick and place head never stops. It picks up the parts and moves over the camera at the same speed and off to the board without ever slowing down or stopping. Which means there's never a chance that the components will jostle or move due to the acceleration and the slowdown and speed up. So, and yeah, it's really fast when it moves. I want to show a video of it moving, but I don't know if I'm going to get in trouble from... yeah, I got to be careful what I show on my stream. Now, let me just... I had a video I was looking at the other day that I wanted to... okay, let me just... So you see this moving. Hopefully this will work okay. I think they do it from another angle. You see it picks up and you see it swipes over the camera. It never stops. Which makes a huge difference to the reliability of the component on the nozzles. The what? The naked neoden. I don't know what that means. Yeah, that's running in real time. So the other thing that this can do, which is much better than what I've got right now, is the positions of the heads on my pick and place machine don't line up with the feeders. So if I have 4 parts in a row on a pickup that are next to each other, the head can't move and just get all 4 parts. It's got to jostle around. The feeders on this are designed with the head placement to... I can set up my board, for instance, I can just go over and it can just go bang and pick up 8 parts at the same time without having to move. So everything about... Yeah, it's... Anyway, really exciting. So I've got a Neoden 8 coming, and I've already started redesigning one of my boards. I'm not going to talk about which one yet, to use 0201 passives. Holy moly, what a space saver. Hello, Steve McD. Is it really better to own a PMP than subcontract out the work? Yes, I can't run my business subcontracting out my work. My business, everything about what I do revolves around me being able to build my own stuff and being self-sufficient. I've covered that quite a few times in the past. I'm happy to, I guess, discuss that again in the future. Maybe not now. There was a different video. Let me just, I'm going to be careful what I bring up on my screen. Not sure I'm going to be able to find it. Oh, here we go. I think this is the one. Right, this is the... See the heads? The synchronized heads? So it moves over and it goes zoom and grabs all the parts without moving. And when it flies back over the camera, that's how it aligns them all. That's how fast it is. So we're talking about a massive step up for what I had. And the reason I'm doing this is I've just wasted too much time on this thing. It's ridiculous. I can't get the throughput I need. I'm spending too much time stuffing around when I should be freeing up my time. It should make a massive difference. Like right now, every time I run out of boards, which I know is a good thing, I feel ill because I know I have to go back and suffer through doing it again and again and again. And it's not like I can say, you know what, I'm just going to do a massive run and get enough so I don't run out as quickly. But my pain doesn't reduce. If anything, my pain increases because I never know what I'm going to get. So I'm at a point now where there's so much drift on the machine that I have to recalibrate all of the feeders every panel. I can't, it's an absolute waste of my time. Like this N8 can build a panel of my Feather S2s, a whole panel, theoretically, right, in the same amount of time it takes me just to set up one panel on this machine. Put it in, calibrate it, get the positions right, and go and realign every single feeder position. It's just crazy. Excuse me, what's the price difference between the Crap Eye and the N8? Oh, massive difference, like $20,000 plus. It's a big difference in the price of the machines, but it's also, a different level machine. I'm not going to buy PCB manufacturing equipment. No, because that's messy work. There's no, you can't go out and buy, you can't throw more money at it and end up with no mess with PCBs. PCBs are a mess to make, right? There are X many steps you need to do to build a piece to make a PCB, and that's what it requires. And no, never doing that. So using a charmer pick and place is like Forrest Gump. You never know what you're going to get. It's true. In this machine, I don't know what I'm going to get. And you know what? I can have a run sometimes, and I'll look at the panel and go, you know what? That's not so bad. I could almost live with this. This conversation I have in my head. and then the next one comes off and it's completely gone. Nothing changed. I took one panel off, I put another panel on, pushed the same button, it did the same calibration and ran the board, and what I got back took me 25 minutes to fix. So for a panel of S2s, I'm now building the whole panel on here, right? So for those that saw my video a couple of weeks ago, I'm now, all my little JST connectors are going on the little thing, right? It takes me 15 minutes from putting a panel in, putting all my connectors on, because I can do one panel at a time, put the panel in and build the panel is 15 minutes on this machine. For 8 boards, 15 minutes. Because I'm running it at 40% speed. And then most of the time, they take me 15 to 20 minutes to fix by hand before they go in the oven. Right? According to the speed on this machine, if I ran this Neoden 8 at half speed, I should be able to build a panel in 6.5 minutes. And I should not have to touch it. It can go straight in the oven. Right? So what I'm going to do is, just go back here for a second. I haven't ordered yet, but I'm going to. I've been speaking to EMLogic about it, but I'm going to get a... I'm going to invest in at least one conveyor, right, that sits between the pick and place and my oven. So it'll pick and place and go straight in the oven. Right? There's always rework to do afterwards. Right? There's always, passives that shift a little bit, when they go through the oven, surface tension and stuff. So I'm already doing that anyway. Like, I spend 20 minutes fixing a board before it goes in the oven, and I'm still hot airing 5 or 6 parts afterwards, right? Which is not bad. 5 or 6 parts out of 500 on a panel. That's okay. I can live with that. I'll end up doing that anyway, but I shouldn't have to do anything in between. So the question is, how do I load my panels? So right now, that's what I'm speaking to EMLogic, to Ramsey at EMLogic at the moment, about how I'm going to automate the panels going in. I'm not going to be getting a stencil printer. Like, I'm still doing my stencils by hand, my pasting, but there are 2 ways that I can feed. So it's obviously a conveyor on the pick and place machine. So you just put it on the conveyor at the start and hit go, and it feeds it in and does it and feeds it through, right? That's one at a time. Now, if I had a conveyor at the front, I could load up a second one, so when one goes through, the next one comes in, and then I can keep feeding one on, but that's only 2. The way you normally do it is with a rack feeder. You put all your boards on a rack, and it feeds them in one at a time. They're really expensive. I mean, the conveyors aren't cheap. Like, the conveyor's like $1,000 per conveyor, but the PCB feeders are really expensive. So yeah, I'm not going to be doing one of those. Catch you later, cable tie. Have a good day at work, mate. Thanks for joining. I appreciate you getting up early to join before you go. So now I'm buying this directly from China. Well, no, sorry. I'm buying this from Australia. I'm buying this through EMLogic, who are the Australian distributors. And so I order it through them, they get it through China, and then buy it from them, which means they get all of the Australian laws, consumer protection laws, and everything else, right? Ramsey and I, we know each other really well because of the S1. I know Neoden really well now. Like, I've been in direct communications with them regularly. They wouldn't even sell me the 8 until recently because they weren't happy with it. They were things they wanted to iron out. Hey, the hookup, do I have room for that? So here's the interesting thing. No, it doesn't fit my office. So I have to renovate my garage now. Hang on, let's go back to here. So Yuz and I were measuring out the garage. I'm going to lose 80% of my garage space to be able to fit the production line in. Hey, Marius. Hey, Deshaker. Hey, G-Bound. We'll be putting up new stud walls and new ceiling in there. The concrete or stakes, it needs to go on concrete. If you're buffering, try... got no drop frames, maybe try restarting your browser. I need a bigger house. Yeah. What I need is a factory, but in my house. Because I want to work from home. I like working from home. I don't want to move to a factory. If it's buffering, just try refreshing your browser, folks. I've got no problems on this side. It could be... Okay, yeah, just do a reload. No, I haven't lost power. Hopefully. Stream says it's healthy. Actually, YouTube says it's in excellent condition. Amazing. What was I saying? Yeah, I don't want to move into a factory because I work massive hours, right? And so I'd never be home. You know, I need the flexibility of being anyway. So I want to work from here, but it's a challenge. So I'm going to start renovating the garage next week. It could be my kids playing online. For me, it's the flexibility of being able to come out and work and do stuff whenever I need to. In not having to get in my car and drive somewhere and then stay there for longer because I don't want to. I want to avoid having to drive back and then drive there again and whatever. Hello, Zero himself. Need to buy a ship. The Charm High is an anchor. So what am I going to do with the Charm High? Well, it's interesting. It's heavy. Hey, down the shed. Julian comes to my streams just to do support for people. Clean up. Now my garage is pretty clean. It's okay. What was I saying? Right. So this thing weighs 200 kilograms. So it's not like I can just move it myself. There'll be no place in the garage for it once the garage is set up. I don't want it to live in my office. I don't want to look at it every day. I don't know what I can do with, as I said, this might be, I might be able to sell it. I don't know. It's definitely not good enough for me. Not even close to good enough for me. But it might suit someone. I don't know. When is the garage or after I do the reno, not before. Right now it's just a garage, right? I don't know what I'm going to do with it. And we're in lockdown still. So because it's really heavy, I don't know where I can ship it to. Anywhere I ship it, even in Australia, is going to be expensive. $500 to ship this anywhere in Australia. And yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do. I thought about maybe donating it to a hackerspace or something, but I don't know of any places that would have room for it. I don't have a full feeder composition for it because I'm going to be using the feeders on my Neoden 8. Part of me wants to pull it apart and turn it into a CNC, but the truth is, for what it would cost me to do that, I can buy a new CNC, and it'll probably end up being better than this. Well, I thought about it, but there aren't many makerspaces around, not in Melbourne anyway. Definitely, the makerspace that I normally frequent doesn't have room for something like this. Could I mod the Charm High to load boards? No, there's no conveyor or anything on the Charm High. Listed on Let Go. I don't know what Let Go is, but I get Grand Design. That's funny. Yaz and I watch Grand Designs. We really enjoy Grand Designs. It allows us to dream about all the renovations we're never going to do, or if we ever build a house. A solder paste printer, yeah, it doesn't have the accuracy. If it can't place an 0402, it absolutely cannot hit the pads for an 0402 or 0201. That's the thing. So, yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do with that. I can't even, when all the feeders are off, I can't even shift it back to the wall because it's too heavy. I know I've got negative feelings towards it. I know that, but I've also invested a whole bunch of money in it, and I really think I'm trying to work out what I can do with it. Technically, I could use it for. Someone suggested to me, I can't remember where it was. Could have been on Patron or something. I could use it for larger boards, things that don't require such fine pitch, but I don't really have a lot of that. And I'm not sure why I'd bother running two different pick and place machines like that. And again, there won't be any feeders left on it. Would you be better off laser cutting stencils? No, I wouldn't be better off laser. I can't laser cut the fine pitch. that I need, unless I got a fibre laser, which I'd really love, a fibre laser. Then I could make my own stencils. How about this pick and place machine? Johnny's posting. Am I going to be rickrolled, Johnny? I'm not going to click on that link. You're going to rickroll me, aren't you? Well, I don't know where I'd auction it, Fred, but the problem is it's shipping. Like, I can't ship this overseas. Thousands of dollars to ship this overseas. Johnny wouldn't have let me down. Oh, here we go again. So anyway, so the N8. I bought the N8. I'm really excited. I'm excited to see what it can do. I'm excited to not have to worry about pick and placing anymore. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to feel this anxiety every time I need to turn this machine on. Like, I have to today. After my stream, I need to pick and place. Like, I'm out of Feather S2s. I've got enough for the orders that came in overnight, and this is all that's left. So if any more orders come in today, yeah. But it's okay. I'll build more. But it's just I need to move past that. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like my loitering with this it's really holding me back. Like, I'm not valuing my time well enough. So yeah, I need to value my time better. But manufacturing overseas doesn't value my time better. Or I could give it away. How do I give it away? Where do I give it? How do I, you know what I mean? To who? How do I get it there? How many Feather S2s can I produce and ship per day? I could do, on this machine, probably only 80 a day. 80 a day is all I could really do without killing myself, which is ridiculous. 80 a day. Right? I should be able to do 300 or 400 a day on the Neoden 8. Not that I need to do that, right? I don't need to do those numbers, but, you know, like for me to restock, if I wanted to build 100 boards, that's like 2 days worth of work. 2 full days worth of work for me to do 100 boards. That includes time to ship. No. So that's just assembling. That's just going from, here's a panel, put paste on, blah, 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 here's a board. That doesn't include ultrasonic cleaning. That doesn't include testing on the test jig. And that doesn't include packing or shipping. No, manufacturing, 80 a day. That's it on this machine. That's the problem. You can add it to a local school and take the entire thing as a tax write-off. Well, I've already got the tax write-off, which is great. I mean, very little or nothing good has come out of COVID, except at least the government have done instant tax write-offs for us on pretty much everything up to $150,000, which is a level I'm never going to have to worry about. So the tax isn't a problem. Yeah, donating it. I mean, schools here aren't high-tech enough. And yeah, maybe Makerspace, I don't know. But like, it's too heavy and big for me to even pull apart. Like, I can't lift it, I can't hoist it. It's 220 kilograms. It's a 4-person job to lift it. So it's not like I can tinker with it. Anyway, I don't know yet. I don't know. I'm going to just ignore that. Well, I can't yet until my 8 turns up. Local uni, maybe only 50 per day is overall maintainable production and ship rate. On this machine, 50 a day, yeah, which is, but that's a full day where I can't do anything else. Like, if I was to build in the morning and have it packed ready to go to Australia Post on the same day, maybe 50, 40 or 50, yeah. Nice engine crane. Yeah, they're pretty big. I'm pretty sure I don't have enough space for one of those. Andy Mouse, I bought a Neoden 8. I caved last week after a really bad run of pick and placing, and I bought the Neoden 8. Yep. Hey Kieran, what? Well, there is a yeah. I mean, there's men's sheds, there's other places, but sure. I guess working out what to do with it is a problem for another day. Right. The first thing I need to do is renovate. I need to start renovating. I've already been drawing up plans. I'm going to do it myself because horrifically expensive to get tradies in right now. So I need to build a shed on this side of my office on the outside to then free up space into there so I can then renovate the garage and put the line in. Yeah. Was that your first video, the S1 arriving? Wow. Yeah, look, I couldn't have done this earlier. The Neoden 8 wasn't ready. And the truth is, there's nothing else I can buy. Not that I'm settling for the N8. The N8 is exactly what I wanted. Like, for those that may remember, like I was originally talking about the Neoden 7. And the issue I had with buying the Neoden 7 was I couldn't fit it in my office. And that's why I was excited about the S1, because it was small enough to go in my office. Neoden are making an S1 replacement. Again, I'm not really allowed to talk about it yet. It's unannounced still, but it is coming, but not in time for me. It probably won't be available till next year, till the start of next year, and it is, there's no way I would buy it right off the line, and there's no way Neoden would sell it to me. Like, they'd want it in production for months before they'd agree to sell it to me. Like, they won't. That's the interesting thing. Neoden wouldn't agree to sell me a Neoden 8. Right? That's how that concerned they were. Like, they know exactly what production level I need. Right? And they weren't prepared to sell me an 8 until they were happy it would meet my production needs. Which is ridiculous, because it's me. It's like, I'm Sion, unexpected maker, who am I? But, you know, yeah, which is pretty funny. So their replacement for the S1, although it's way better than the S1 was, it's still not the 8, right? It's still designed for, it's a prototyping machine. It's a high-speed prototyping machine. It's not really designed to do long production. This is designed to do long production. Please make sure your shed is modular. What do you mean by modular, Julian? I'm just going to build... Given I shouldn't hold out for the S1 next, they've been suggesting the 8. So, the 8's a production machine, as I said. The S1 next, we'll call it, they're calling it a high-speed prototyping machine. I mean, you can do production. It's not designed to do hundreds of thousands of boards. You know, you might be able to do hundreds of boards a run. It's going to be high precision and stuff, but it's not, you know, it's still going to be 4 heads, and it's still going to be, yeah, it's... and ideally, like, I don't really want the pick and place in here, because I want it on a conveyor going to the oven. It doesn't make sense for me to buy another pick and place machine that I have to grab the board and walk it to the oven, right? I want to automate. The whole point is to automate as much as possible. Build it out of Lego. What's the air supply required? I can use my current compressor, yes. It's just, it's 6 or 7 MPa, the same. And as I said, it's hybrid. So I can buy, so if these feeders aren't good enough for like 0201, because they might not be, I can buy feeders as I need them, as I transition over. Am I going to move all my stuff over to 0201? No, it doesn't make any sense for me to move all my stuff to 0201. Right? But there are some things moving to 0201 does make sense for, like, you know, if I just switch cameras right now. Also, I'll show you. So I made myself, hang on. I will get back to what I'm going to say. I'm not going to do a John Oxer. I'm not going to chase squirrels. Just, this is a quick squirrel. So that's the board. Let's get closer. So that's my final production board, right? That's what I'm shipping. But I made myself a special one. It's a one of a kind. One of a kind. I've made myself one, but it's got black connectors. So for those of you that remember, quite a few streams ago, I was trying to source black connectors because I wanted to do it all black. At the end of the day, I'm actually quite happy with this. I think this looks okay. Very happy to ship them with the non-black connectors, but I wanted one that had black connectors, so I made myself one. Anyway, my point was, see, told you, I've come back, that when you've got sections like this, where you've just got a bank of passives, right? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I mean, they're just passives everywhere, right? There's no reason to use up so much real estate space for these. I want to move stuff like that, 0.1 caps, 1 microfarad caps, 100k, 10k resistors, move them all to 0201 and get them out of the space. When can I pre-order the black edition? You can't. It's a one-off. And the only reason it's a one-off is I only had 2 JST connectors, and I think I had a pack of 8 of these, of the SH. So I'm not manufacturing these. Sorry. Did the CNX story boost sales? Hey Ian, I'm not sure. It's really hard to judge where sales have come from. So I've sold a massive amount to, I'm quite surprised, Switzerland, Austria and Germany are right now my 3 biggest countries buying my Feather S2s, which was really surprising. It feels like it's out of focus. If I can focus that any better. No, a little bit. There we go. Yeah, not even the US. I mean, I've sold a few to the US, but I think I think a lot of folks in the US are waiting for Adafruit and that makes total sense, because obviously the shipping costs for me. Look, I got to say it, I am totally embarrassed by how much it's costing people to ship stuff. They're not very black. Yeah, they're more of a grey black. That looks still pretty cool. I'm totally embarrassed by how much it's costing people to ship stuff. And every time someone ships express post, and I get why they're doing it, I feel ill, because it's crazy how much shipping is. So I totally get that there are people waiting, and I get emails all the time from people in Europe asking me when there's going to be a European distributor, and there isn't for the time being. It might be easier for you to buy from Adafruit from the States. They might be closer and cheaper. I don't know. But for the time being, there isn't a European distributor. Even if I found someone today, I can't build stock. I can't build enough stock right now to ship to people. I've got, so the guy that sells my tiny Picos on Amazon, he's been, contacting me a lot. He wants to sell my Nanos. He wants to sell my Feather S2s on Amazon. He covers Amazon all around, US, Europe and stuff. So that could be an option. But I said to him right now, I can't. I can't make enough stock. So until I get my N8 and I can ramp production, I can't do it. It doesn't. I know this sounds silly, but it doesn't make any sense for me to sell whatever I can make wholesale when I can sell it retail, when I'm constrained on how much I can make. Right? If I'm going to only make 50 or 80 boards in a day on this machine because of the constraint, it doesn't make any sense for me to sell them at a wholesale price when I can sell them at a retail price. Sorry, I'm just reading a comment. I'm sure what this is about. Is Adafruit reselling them on... Okay, so the way Adafruit works is anyone that resells Adafruit products resells all of Adafruit's products, meaning anything that Adafruit sell. So you can see my tiny Picos on DigiKey right now. Well, DigiKey aren't stocking them. They would just, Adafruit stock them, so therefore DigiKey stock them. The same with local distributors in Australia, like Little Bird and don't know if Core Electronics. Anyway, they all, you can buy off them, but it's classed as an Adafruit product, and it would come from Adafruit to them, which doesn't make a lot of sense, right? So with my tiny Pico, that's the way it works, because the deal I've got with Crowd Supply is they handle all my reseller distribution. So they got all the resellers on board, and then they distribute to them. Like they buy from me and on sell. But for my other stuff, obviously I can sell direct. So my Feather S2s are going directly to Adafruit. My nanos, are too expensive for me to make to wholesale them probably. Although I've sold quite a few nanos, more than I expected to sell, it's not earth shattering. DigiKey is super fast shipping. You need to explore price elasticity, i.e., I expect you could sell for more dollars and probably increase profit, even if volume drops off a little. Well, absolutely, I could, but I want them accessible as well. Like I already feel like I'm at the highest price point that I can be for the products. I'm a strong believer in selling at the price the market will bear, more so than selling at the price that makes me wealthier, if that makes sense. Like, it's the whole, would you rather sell 10 for $100 each or 100 for $10 each, right? Well, it takes a lot more work to make 100 than it does to make 10. So of course you'd want to sell 10 at $100 each, but the market can't bear $100 each, right? So it's a juggling act, and I'm trying to build what I'm trying to build can be done. It can be done. It can be sustainable. It just requires a range of products, timely creation, and optimization, which is pretty much what SparkFun and Adafruit do, right? You could not move to China and post from there. Move what to China? You want me to move to China? I'm pretty sure my kids and yours will not want to move to China. Just trying to think of getting you the initial profit boost so you can then ramp up in terms of getting a helper. So getting a helper would be really helpful. I've been discussing that a lot with some people. I don't know where I'd target that. Probably if I was able to get someone else to help me right now, I'd get someone in that can deal with all the code that I procrastinate over. No, I don't want to feel like a complete prick with my pricing either. That's right. It's insane how much. Limor doesn't make them all. She's got, I think there are 2 or 3 people that do all the designs. Limor does a huge amount of work, insane amount of work that she does. Like, I don't understand when she sleeps. It's pretty crazy. Make a fortune with shipping costs on doing dirt cheap products. That doesn't work as a business model for me. Like getting an intern in, still time and money, absolutely. Time and money and space and everything. I'm not at the point yet where I can bring someone in. Like if I was to bring someone in, they'd need to be multidisciplined like I am. And that's hard to find, right? And as I've mentioned before, I don't want to clone me. I don't want another Sion. We would not get on well. So the good news is my coffee is still warm. Hot. Not putting my tongue hot, but hot, which is great. So the mug's working. Bet you the more routes PCBs while she sleeps. I don't know, but she does a hell of a lot of work. I mean, she writes stacks of firmware still, right? And she does, she searches for products. Like she does a lot of the product sourcing, like in component sourcing, and she designs stacks of PCBs and she runs a business. Like, you know what I mean? And obviously it's her and Phil. They both do it together. And they've got a team of people. I mean, they've got a lot of staff. But their turnover is massive, and their quality is great, and their pricing is really good for what they do, but clearly it's way above China for anything. But they've got a sustainable business, so it can absolutely be done. But I'm back at the start where they were when they were in an apartment with like one, or they had 2 or 3 people. Well, I'm just the one. It's going to take a while. I was going to keep pushing and doing it, but it's all about manufacturing myself. Like it has to be via manufacturing myself. It can't be via outsourcing. It just, yeah. Yeah, and they're in New York, which is probably the second most expensive place in the world for them to manufacture. Who are we talking about? We're talking about Limor Fried, who started Adafruit. So, for those that don't know, this is Adafruit's website. Where's About? About Us. If you want to know about this, so that's Limor, watch this video on their About Us page. It is so inspiring. Like, yeah. So, I mean, their companies, I think some of these photos are old. They've got much more people now. But Limor's great. I mean, she's a hardware engineer. And look at her. She's the type of hardware engineer that people, like, they look at her and go, we're not going to hire you. Right? Because of the whole, what's the stereotype thing. You know what I mean? She proved to the world that you can do what they've done when everyone told her it can't be done. Like it's great. And whether you like their products or not, whether you're into, what they do or not, it's beside the point. She's proven that it can be done. And Nathan at SparkFun has proven that it can be done. And so if they can do it, I can do it. And I'm going to do it. It's just going to be a long slog. Unfortunately. If you always want to manufacture yourself, you need another Xeon Mini-Me. Eventually I will. Yeah. When does the N8 come? I don't know yet. They haven't started making it yet. They make them custom per order. What sort of cold, hard bastard hates Adafruit products? No, not that hates, but a lot of people are still, they do the whole, why would I pay $20 for that from Adafruit when I can get it for $5 from China, right? It's the same thing. It's that mentality is what I'm talking about. We all know those people. No, I'm not getting my kids to work on it. Yeah, you're right, Wayne. Like it's all about. You can't produce quality product. Well, you can produce quality products with not quality equipment. You can. I'm doing it now. But it's way harder than it needs to be. Way harder. Yeah, I'm not putting the kids in production. And I'm definitely not... I'm not working with family. What? Eddie Van Halen's passed away? Really? No way. Is that for real? Or is that fake news? Oh, don't wait, Benjamin. Order. It's going to be months. It's going to be months till I'm up and running on the Need N8. 8 weeks, 9 weeks, at least. At least. Oh, that's a shame. That's a real shame. I don't want to hire a 16-year-old with a wage subsidy, 25. I don't want free labour. I want... So I've been running my own businesses my whole life, right? And it's all about getting, and I know you're joking, Ian, I know you're joking. It's all about getting people that contribute. Like, I don't want someone that comes to work to get paid. I want someone who can think and can learn and grow and they can help. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know everything. I don't even know anything. Like, I want people that, I want to bring help in that can not help me do the mundane stuff I don't want to do. I want to bring, when I say help, I want to bring someone in that can augment, that they can add value. I want added value here, right? It might be that at some stage I bring someone on that actually has an engineering degree and knows way more about electronics than me. Bring someone in that can code better than me. Bring someone in that can manufacture better than me. Like, you know what I mean? It's added value. I'm a strong believer in that. Very hard to find the right people though, especially in lockdown. And it's not like, getting someone in to help me with manufacturing can't really be done with remote working. So, how long can you sell your products? I get mad buying year-old Intel CPUs, but I've been using basically the same Arduino for a decade. Yeah, that's an interesting question, Brandon. It's really an interesting question. I keep thinking to myself, what's the lifespan of the tiny Pico? And I have plans. I've got, obviously, my new tiny Pico boards are in production right now at JLC PCB. They were on holidays last week, so there was the delay. And the new board is just the redesign, so I can manufacture them easier. Manufacture them easier on this, and then really easy on the N8. Or live stream better than me. That's exactly. Or make videos better than me. All the things. I'm multidisciplined, and of all the things that I can do, there are people out there that can do all of those things better than me. So, absolutely. So, they're the type of people I want to bring in here. Day 2's in Sydney, so that's a bit of a problem right now. See you, Tom. Catch you later. Hey, Robert. Hey, Akurash. Yeah, the third time lucky story. How sad is that though, right? It is sad. I feel like I've been cursed with picking places, and I'm really hoping that the N8 will break that curse. But yeah, so the life of the tiny Pico. Well, I guess the tiny Pico will evolve into whatever the next generation of ESP32s will be, right? So, and at that point in time, the tiny Pico will be retired, but not retired. So, my tiny Pico as a form factor has been... Now, lucky I didn't have an open cup, right? Because that just went bang and flat, right? That would have gone into my coffee. Anyway, no one goes to work except for money. Yes and no. Everyone needs money, so yes, everyone needs money, so people work for money. And if people had the choice to work or not work, I'm sure a lot of people would choose not to work. But those people are people that don't enjoy what they do. It is possible to work in a place that inspires you, that you enjoy, even if it's not your own business, for someone else, where you have freedoms and latitude to really grow and explore and do really good stuff and get paid to do it, but the being at work is enjoyable. That is absolutely possible. It's rare. I think it's, I would say less than 10% of the world's population are in that space, maybe even less, maybe, I don't know. But I think that is truly possible. So, yeah. What I was going to say was this as a form factor has been really, it's done really well. And so I want to keep this form factor. So I feel like when how long can you keep making a board for? Well, the tiny Pico has got a Pico D4 on it. So at some point this will become the tiny something else, right? And there won't be a Pico on it, there'll be a something else on it, but it'll be the same form factor. And so the ecosystem and everything else around it continues and stays the same. Just like with the feather format, the feather's a bit different because you get all types of microcontrollers on them and stuff, but the format itself stays, and so people are inventing new boards with new processors and new things that work on this So it becomes the format rather than what it is. So this goes from an ESP Pico D4 maybe to an ESP32 S3 or S4 or something, right? So for me, what I want to do is make a range of boards that suit different target markets and then evolve what's on them. But the board design and spec stays, right? Now, I'm under no delusions that I could build a standard like Adafruit have done. They've done it with their Feather, which has become the standard. They've done it to a point with the Itsy Bitsy and with, maybe not the Trinket, but the Itsy Bitsy. You know, there's stacks of boards in the Itsy Bitsy form factor. Because they built stacks of ecosystem that goes around them. And that's what I'd like to do. But, yeah, that takes a while. Even with money, you still want to do something, maybe not manual work, but you'll still work. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people who think they can work, they can not work and enjoy themselves will get bored very quickly. I think you need to be occupied, you know, yeah. So I'm just looking back. Sorry, I missed lots of comments. I would want to do my current job even if I wasn't paid. They have to pay me to set the alarm in the morning. James, that's really funny. Yeah, and sexy people work more hours than they get paid for, but they enjoy what they do. Some people also just workaholics, Rob, right? Me too. But it is possible to have workplace satisfaction. It's possible to have satisfaction in your job, even if it's a job still, and even if you're doing it for someone else. Like, not everyone is destined to run their own business. Not everyone is destined to lead. So that sounds really bad. Like, you know what I mean? Not everyone wants that responsibility. Not everyone wants to take those risks. But that doesn't mean those people shouldn't be able to thrive in a working environment. I'm not sure this environment is going to allow anyone I bring in to thrive right now. This is chaos. But this has to be chaos right now because I'm juggling so many things and I'm trying to build something, and there's no roadmap to this. There's no plan. I can't go on the internet and download the instruction manual for this. Right? This is all suck it and see. Right? It's all guesswork. It's all about making decisions and hoping that enough of them are smart enough that the outcome is good. Instead of third time lucky, it may be more an argument for taking the think big financial gamble up front. Well, that's what I'm doing now. I mean, as I said before, the N8 is really the only option I've got unless I go for a European machine, which I can't afford, or I go back to China for a no-name Chinese machine, which I'm never going to do again, right? So my only real option right now is the N8, especially in this climate. But that's okay because the N8 is exactly what I want. I mean, it's no, you know, if you look at these machines that, you know, is in this picture here, I think they're Samsungs. I mean, the N8 is no row of Samsungs. Like, the line I'm producing is not this. This is insane, right? I mean, this is $250,000, $500,000. Okay, well, there's taking the financial hit, like thinking big, and then there's being ridiculous. Right? I can't do that. But buying the Neo 8 is the right step for me. Do you have any board that is 15.9 wide that would be useful to control Lego trains? What do you need to control the Lego train? You just need to control some motors. 15.9 wide or narrower, right? I mean, my tiny Pico is 17, but that's got header pins on it. I mean, my Nano, there you go. You could stick that inside your train. I mean, that's pretty insane. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I'm assuming you need Wi-Fi and stuff. Hey, Hack Pro. I'm not bored, never, and more or less retired. Yeah, I'll never retire. I know I'll always be doing something. Have I explored AI? I very interested in AI. I have no time. I'm very interested in FPGAs. I have no time. I'm one person. I'm stretched completely thin right now. So there's never a shortage on things I want to tinker with, things I want to learn, project ideas. My limitation is time. And that's why I bought the N8, because right now the thing I'm wasting is my time. You know what? Money I can replenish. Time I can't. And that's the thing. And I'm done with wasting my time with the Charm High. I thought I could make it work. I didn't want to, for too long I spent this much money, I need to make it work in front of my time. So that's deep. Sorry, dude. I didn't mean to turn this into deep. But it's true. It's true. I know there are people without jobs and whatever else, but at the end of the day, you can always find a way to make more money or to replenish your money, but you can't replenish the time lost. AI is full on. Yeah, AI is it's the Wild West still. You know what I mean? It's still early, such early days, AI. Hey Flo, I don't know what's going to happen to the Charm High yet. Time waits for no one. The term you're looking for is sunk cost fallacy. Yes, it is a sunk cost now. But as I said, I couldn't get an N8 any sooner anyway. I mean, I could have ordered an N8 2 weeks ago. It was about the earliest I could have ordered, 2-3 weeks ago, and I could have maybe had it 3 weeks earlier. It wouldn't have solved any of my production woes right now for the Feather S2. For those that haven't realised, I've delayed my Pro S2 for now. I'm not going to bring out my Pro S2 at least until I've got my Neodine pick and place lined up, because I'm struggling just to produce what I need to produce now. I don't want to put a third board in the mix. And so I'm probably going to hold off my Pro S2 until the S3 comes out. And so I'll ship it as a Pro S3 next year. I think that's what I'm going to do. Because I'm just not sure that the world needs more ESP32 S2 boards right now. There's quite a few of them going to be coming out. So yeah, I'm not sure yet. We'll wait and see. Sunk cost fallacy prevents sunk costs from accelerating out of control. Well, all I know is I've got sunk cost and deluded myself into thinking that I could live with it. Fred's intelligence has always been artificial. I've always had a philosophy about I make stuff work. I deal with what I've got and I'll make it work. I've lived my life that whole way. But I've come to a point now where where I'm really time poor and I'm really struggling. And so I need to optimize my time better. And this is one way I can optimize my time. Now, this won't optimize all my time. There's still a lot of manual bottlenecks in manufacturing boards. I mean, the amount of time it takes me to separate my panels, and then ultrasonic clean them, and that's a time sink, but it's got to be done. I've thought about my next purchase is going to probably be, I'm going to experiment with one of those depanelizers, I think. If you all know what I'm talking about. We've spoken about this a few times. So one of these type of things where you got a rotary blade, top and bottom, and panels go through and it cuts them. So if I can find one for maybe a couple of $1,000s, I'll probably look at doing something like that to reduce my depaneling time. Maybe. That's what I'm thinking. I don't know. That'll be my next purchase. Pretty sure none of the cheap modules I get from China are ultrasonically clean. No, they're probably not. And they're also not cleaned nicely on the edges. Or I've had ones that aren't cleaned nicely on the edges. Some of them are cleaned. Like I've got some boards that are cleaned. So I got this TT Go shipped to me ages ago. You know when they do their like $1 microcontrollers or something? I've not even opened it. It's been sitting on my desk. There you go, mail time. It's been sitting here for months. Wow. So I mean, here's a board. I mean, that's been cleaned. TT Go make nice boards, like in terms of their quality control and stuff. I mean, it's a really weird form factor, but that's been cleaned. I mean, that's not been cleaned here or here. Look, there's bits of fiberglass hanging off the edge. I mean, and then that's actually, it's dangerous, right? Those little fiberglass fibers, they actually can pierce your skin, right? And if you get fiberglass into your bloodstream, that's bad. Anyway, so they've not been cleaned. I can't do that. I can't ship a board that isn't clean. It's got to be clean. The only parts I don't clean on the Feather S2 deliberately are just under the USB. Right? Because I want the USB to hang over the edge slightly. I think that's better for boards. And so the only place I can't get to is here. And I'm okay with that because it's not... Like, if there are any fibers on it, I get rid of the fibers. But there's a slight rough edge there, but it's behind the USB. But the rest of the board is smooth. The same with my tiny Picos, right? Every edge is smooth. I can't ship a board that isn't like that. And when I get boards that are like that and they're not from China, I get really frustrated, to be honest with you. So when will you screen my discussion about my take on open source? Well, I'm not going to do a whole stream about it, but I'm happy we can talk about it now. Do you want to explain to everyone what you mean by that? Hey, Ross. Hey, John. What's some PPE? What are we talking about? Did I miss another comment of yours? You said plus PPE. I know that you tried all the ways to repair it, but it can be modified by changing software like OpenPNP. OpenPNP won't help this machine. This machine's got mechanical issues. It's got mechanical problems. OpenPNP is not going to help that. And why would I sink more time into trying to get OpenPNP working on this when this machine is just inferior? Like, it's just crap. For the depaneling gear. Oh, right, so when I go in... So right now what I'm doing, I've moved away from scraping edges. I've got a sanding belt set up outside in the garage. And I've got a whole routine when I go out to clean boards. I've got mask, I've got gloves, I've got a jacket that's out there that only gets used. So I rug myself up in this jacket because you get fiberglass everywhere. And so basically I look like a ridiculous person. And I put my headphones on because it's loud, really loud music. And I stand there and I sand off down all the edges of all my boards, and it takes ages. It's a really slow process, but I will not ship a board that's got ugly edges. And doing mouse bites doesn't help. I get plenty of boards that have mouse bites on the edges that aren't cleaned off nicely either. I don't like that either. So when I separate my nanos when I depanelize my nanos, because it's mouse bites. Let me get a panel out. So I custom designed this, right? Now let me go through the other camera. So custom designed this panel. And because it's got the castellation on 3 sides. And so depanelizing this, right, it still takes a lot of time I can't just cut, because I end up with really ugly mouse bite edges. So it actually takes me quite a bit of time to cut clean edges on this. And I can't sand the edges on this. I have to be very careful because of the castellated edges. So, even doing this is a time sink. And I can't really run this through a depanelizing tool. So I'm still happy to V-score my edges on my boards for most of my stuff. The question is whether the depanelizing tool will work and give me a really nice edge like this. Like this board here. Can I get any closer? You probably can't really tell. This board here is super smooth on each side. And this was a board that had edges everywhere. Like joining edges. I've got a nibbler. It doesn't matter. A nibbler still gives you when you use a nibbler, you still get sharpy bits and yuck bits sometimes. It's not perfect. I've got a nibbler. It actually worked better for me to just use perfectly flat side-edged pliers. Is the best way for me to snip them, because these are only 1mm boards, thickness boards, so they're very easy to bend and soft, right? Like it's really flexible. I'm gonna be careful I don't snap the board. So because of that, it's really easy to damage the edge of the board with a nibbler. I have to be very careful. Okay, sorry about that. There's also an option of they could technically not with a CO2 laser, but with a fiber laser or something else. I could technically laser cut them, but that's a lot of work getting that right and quite expensive, like $20,000 for a fiber laser. They seem to have fully automated depanelizers on those pictures you showed. Yeah, and you know how expensive they are? Yeah, like it's, I have to be... Again, like spending money to save me time is important to me, but doing it on an unknown, like one of these things, right? You're talking about one of these, V-cut. You put it in and it comes out the other end. Great, but how much do you think one of those is? How much is 19,000 INR? Anyone know? Anyway, they're expensive. And I don't know what I'm going to get. And I can't guarantee that it's going to work for my boards. You know what I mean? I doubt the panelizing tool will work with the connector that close to the edge. That's the other thing, right? It might not work on all my boards, right? With the feather, I've got the JST connector, and it's probably too close. So yeah, there's we'll see. A bit at a time is what I'm trying to do. A bit at a time. How do I smooth the edges? With a sand, I've got a very fine grit sandpaper on a belt sander. And I literally stand in front of the belt sander and go and put it in a box. And then I've got to air clean them down because of the dust gets on them. Yeah, I do all that before they go into a chest jig. It's only $363. What? There's no way that's only $363. This machine. These other ones... No, these ones here are like $2,000 each. There's no way that's $360 something. I think that's wrong. Why do you go EE? That's the sound it makes. Anyway, sorry. You could rig up some micro diamond Dremel saw. It would cut sand at the same time. But how would I do that? Or how would I use a Dremel to do it? Like, yeah, like it's too many cuts. Anyway, yeah, no, it's cleaning the boards. This is the fastest I've done so far. Oh, that's for the pictures. Rob says, why not use a CNC to polish the edges? How? How do I put a tiny Pico through a CNC machine? A panel of these. It would destroy it. How would I hold it still? Yeah, no, the CNC is not an option for doing that. Like if it was on a large panel, like routing them out, possibly a big machine, a proper machine. Yeah, it's again $20,000 for a machine that's designed to do that. Yep. Guys, we're not talking about me doing 1 or 2 boards. We're talking about doing thousands of boards. Reliably thousands of boards without damaging any of them. Perfect clean all the time. Yeah, CNC is not an option. Yeah, Dremel linear rail and 3D printed mount, not an option. How long do you think it'll take to do? Like why would I... Sorry, no offense, but I'm not looking at a project. I don't want a project, right? I don't want to build some crazy construction to try to depanelize my boards that's not going to be good or fast or reliable. I want to do it quick. I don't want to be spending my time either designing a thing that I have to maintain or, anyway. UPCPT Planet. Wow, thanks, buddy. You can get the V-Score machines pretty cheap, less than $1,000 US. Right, which is, $1,500, $1,600 Australian. Also, make sure you have filter dryer for your air compressor before you use the N8. Yep, to make sure there's no moisture inside the hose. All good. I'm sure 1900 INR is $364, but there's no way that machine... like $16,000 is what I've seen machines like that on Alibaba. So I think that would be a mistake or something. Use a flamethrower. A vacuum fixture. I can't vacuum fixture a board that has got parts underneath. That's not going to vacuum it down. Free child labour. Start designing bigger boards. Well, that's another option. Or I could start designing smaller boards. Excuse me. Anyway, there's solutions to all these things, like proper solutions, but they're expensive. So a bit at a time. Put them through a tumbler. That's what they do for metal parts. Yeah, no issues. Make them round. Well, they've got to still attach on a panel somehow. Yeah, round doesn't work so well for a breadboard though. I'm amazed that Adafruit can sell a board retail for $2.50. What are they selling for $2.50? And they can sell for whatever price. I mean, it's called a loss leader. Bruce, you know that. Design a round breadboard. Ooh. Would anyone be interested in a round breadboard? James is more of an expert on breadboards. I'll get him to design a round breadboard. Maybe a hex breadboard. That'd be cool. A lot of their breakouts are cheap. Sure. So when labour's taken out of the process and it's just a board goes in and they're constructed and they come out the other end and they don't need a lot of testing, just some quick electrical testing, and get it in a bag, you can produce stuff cheap, sure. But I think a lot of this stuff's still lost leadery. A round cheese board would make some sense. A round cheese board would make some sense, not a breadboard. Micro Pico, the board is so tiny that the chip package overlaps the edges. That might be a little bit hard to assemble, but I wouldn't have to clean the edges, right? Design a board 100 by 100. Butter. So Johnny brought up open source. So, yeah, and I think he was alluding to how I've suggested to Sion that he should discuss his take on open source, pros and cons on protecting your IP versus publishing it all, like Arduino open compared to Raspberry Pi closed. Well, Arduino's not open. I would call Adafruit open source. I'd call Arduino limited open source. I think. I guess that comes down to... Yeah, so for those that haven't noticed, my Featherist 2 is not open source. I've published the schematic for those that want to see the schematic, because that's fair enough. I even needed it up before I pushed it out there, because a lot of people that are working with microcontroller boards want to know how where all the pins go to whatever, which is fine. The reason I didn't make the board files open source is because there's enough Feather stuff out there right now. There's no requirement to make this open for anyone to learn from, because there's stacks of Feather stuff already open, right? There's stacks of ESP32 stuff that's already open. And so I'm glad I made my Tiny Pico. I'm happy to talk about this. I'm glad I made my Tiny Pico open source, and a lot of my stuff is open source. But it's also had some issues, right? So, and not just my Tiny Pico, but so a lot of people don't understand what open source means, and a lot of people think open source means free to use, and that includes free to manufacture and sell. So like I've had people contact me saying, hey, Tiny Pico looks great, just letting you know I'm going to, it's really expensive to ship from Australia, I'm going to produce some here and sell them in Europe. And I go, no, you're not. It's my product. Like, now, like, that's not open source, right? Like that's taking someone else's product and making it and selling it. So, and then I've got, for instance, with what happened with my Reflow Master is that there are, obviously people who are designing their own Reflow Master, like their own home DIY products. Hi, Yaz. Their own DIY products, that they're using, and they're not buying a Reflow Master, which is fine, but they're using my Reflow Master code on their thing, and kind of that's okay. They're making modifications to it, and they're not re-open sourcing it back, which is not okay because the license says you need to can put it back if you take it, if you use it, if you change it, you need to re-open source it. People don't read the license, whatever. But I've also had people who have made competing products that are shipping it with my Reflow Master code. And that's not open source. That's not what open source is about. And so it's really interesting. I'm really torn. I strongly believe in open source. I don't believe that everything has to be open source. I strongly believe in open source and giving back to the community, absolutely. And open source, I feel like it really only works when you're at a level where no matter what happens with it, it can't harm you. But when it starts harming your efforts, which has happened to me a couple of times, I feel like I start questioning why I would bother going to the effort of opening something when it just works against me, right? And so, and I'm not talking about people in China running my stuff. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about people in the Western world who are doing the wrong thing, whether through ignorance or whether just through they don't care. Well, but it's not even it's not just Gerbers, it's also just having like the Eagle design files. Like I got people who were contacting me and go, hey, I really like your Tiny Pico, I'm going to incorporate that into a watch. I'm going, okay, well, what do you mean by incorporate into a watch? And they go, well, I'm just going to take your design and I'm going to rejig it all and fit it into a watch. I go, okay, that's cool. Just, make sure you re-open source it. And some people go, yeah, no problem. And some people go, but why? Like, why do I need to re-open source it? I said, because you're leveraging my stuff. Like, you're starting with my board and I've done that work and you're now changing, like, you're using it to change it. Like, that's the requirement. If you don't want to re-open source it, don't use my design to start with. Don't even look at my design to start with. Find some other reference out there, right? But it's a really hard thing. It's like where do you draw the line? I don't want to spend my time policing it. And I don't want to spend my time worrying about it. But by the same token, I spend my time designing it and sharing it, and not everyone does the right thing. So I know Arduino is open source. I get that. What I meant by open, I meant accessibility, right? So like I look at Adafruit's version of open source, and they don't just make everything open source. They show you deliberately how you leverage it, right? Like all their learning guides are around open source. Like, the very first thing you go to the learning guide and they've got all the files and documentation and they tell you how to use it, right? Which is different to, hey, my product is open source, all the files are available, but I'm going to not link to them. You have to find them, right? So that's what I was meaning, the accessibility of open source. Now, open source is for hardware as well. It just comes down to the licensing, right? That there's generally you license under, like CERN in my case for the hardware, and it's got some requirements, but no one reads the requirements. And Ross, that's why I did it, because I learnt most of what I know now, which is very little, from Adafruit and SparkFun and other people open sourcing their stuff, which is why I open source most of my stuff. I'm not deliberately closed sourcing anything right now, other than right now my Reflow Master Pro will not be open because hardware-wise it uses my Nano, so it's not really something that someone can just go and make themselves. The schematics I'll open. The software-wise, it's an interesting thing because a lot of the software is going to be in the firmware, and I'm not sure how that's going to work yet. So I'm not deliberately closed sourcing it. I'm not sure how or what I will open on it. But everything else I've made that's something that I distribute, I've open sourced. Hey, Quixotic Geeks, what did you miss? Nothing. Open source hardware is what enabled me to learn. Absolutely. Open source is very valuable. Absolutely. Without a doubt. But I've, it's been a pain point for me as well. So, it's an interesting conversation I have in my head. I see the value of it. So there's 3 levels in my mind, right? There's I'm not doing whatever work I'm doing that I'm open sourcing, I'm not doing for a living or commercial gain, or the work that I'm doing is not pivotal to my survival, right? Then you've got the other end, like Adafruit, where everything we do is pivotal to not just our survival, but all our staff's survival. But we're still open sourcing everything because they're at a level where it doesn't hurt them, right? And then there's kind of the middle ground, which is I'm in, which is everything I'm doing is for my survival and my family's survival, but open sourcing is really important and I want to do it, but I'm not big enough that it doesn't hurt me when I do it, if that makes sense. It's just this ongoing conversation in my head. I have no regrets about anything I've opened, and I will continue to open source stuff. Maybe not everything, or maybe not everything straight away. I don't know. It depends. It's a hard call. Also, there's a stack of work involved with open sourcing stuff. Like your stuff's got to be, like your code's got to be better. Not that I'm a great coder, but your code's got to be good enough that you want to share it and not get ridiculed. The amount of work that goes into, for me designing a board and not having to worry about sharing the schematics and the design files, my design files can look like rubbish. It doesn't matter, right? You know what I mean? I don't have to worry about documentation for it. I don't have to worry about, So an interesting thing was I released my website. I put the schematic on it, and then I was looking at just glancing at the schematic and went, oh shit, I didn't update these component names, right? I had the wrong hotkey name on here, and I had the wrong the part for the AND gate on there, right? It was the wrong part. Now, for me, that doesn't matter. My design files don't have to have the right part name because I know what part goes on there, right? But it's important for the schematic. Like, the amount of care and effort to release the files adds a huge amount of work to an already time-poor situation, if that makes sense. I think your boards are mostly... I think with the Feather S2s, they're to be used, not to be learnt from. Because that's right, because there's stacks of reference out there, right? Stacks. Hope you can make a serial MP3 player without an SD card. Well, I can, and there might be something I'm working on. And it might not be what you think. Stay tuned. Not publishing should not be an excuse for bad documentation. No, that's also true. But publishing has the level, the extra effort of making sure that all your documentation is better and what you're publishing is accurate. You know, your nano is to be used because otherwise people wouldn't look for a module. What? What are your thoughts on releasing a part library that you use in your development? Yeah, I'm not going to do that. And that's interesting because I don't need to. So with Eagle, you don't need to have the part library. All the parts are embedded in the board. The only thing me giving you my unexpected make a part library would do would be nothing. Would be like, you can take my board, you can create a library, call it whatever you want, and then you can say on the board, copy the devices to the library, and you've got a library of all my things. You know what I mean? You don't need my part library. For me to publish my part library would be a problem because it's going to be out of date almost instantly because it's always evolving. So there'd be, just like right now with the microbuilder library and a whole bunch of other libraries, there's 100 different versions out there. You don't know which one you've got. You don't know which things, you know what I mean? So I deliberately didn't publish my Eagle library because it's not needed. If the parts weren't embedded in the design file, that's a different story because then you couldn't re-leverage the part. The linking is off and ask for the library. No, you just open a library, your own library, create a library, and you right-click on the part and you say copy device to library. And it adds the thing into the library. You don't need the link. You're trying to edit the footprint, for instance. It won't. You can't. You can't edit the footprint because the library's not there. So what do? You copy the device to your own library, then you can edit the footprint. That's an Eagle thing, right? That's just a... Yeah, you need to understand, Ross, how Eagle works with its devices. There's no requirement to have the library. Latest library also contains the components for the new secret projects. That is true. No, don't feel stupid, Ross. Don't feel stupid. A lot of people don't realize that. A lot of people don't. I mean, I've had this question many times. It's not needed with Eagle. It might be with KiCad and other things, I don't know. But with Eagle, the device is embedded inside the file. You can add it to your own libraries, which is really cool. And that's why I've got the ability to make my own library, because I can take any device from any project and do that. Kind of like making YouTube videos and streaming takes a lot of my time. Well, streaming, I love it because I get to communicate with you all, even though it's just me talking, right? Yeah, like I've been pretty light on my videos recently. I know that, and that's just because I just don't have time. I've got projects sitting there to be in different levels of being recorded. Some of them haven't even started. I don't have the time right now. I still think I'm like a month or 2 months behind where I wanted to be right now because of all of that. I need to catch up and get to a point where I'm not taking away from this by doing this. That's all. And just right now my videos are the thing that's being left behind. KiCad embeds the components in the file too. Well, there you go. My power management approaches you should keep as IP. Yeah, but I can't make a Tiny Pico open source and not share how I do that. And what I'm doing is not revolutionary. It's just, to me, it was just common sense. And there's quite a few boards that do it now, which is fine. And that's great. That's me giving back and people learning from it. I can't... Yeah. Not quite sure what I was going to say then. Attempted to fire up my OpenP build. It reminded me of you. Parts were shooting everywhere. Awesome. Another part shooter. I see the value of sharing Eagle design blocks, but that's a big job. Sure. I need to spend more time making design blocks for myself, actually. But because I tend to not put stuff into design blocks, or I do, but then I change something about the design and don't change the design block. Yeah, it gets messy with stuff like that. What did I just miss? Have you got a bunch of ideas for upcoming shields for the Tiny Pico and Feather? I'm not going to build any shields for the Feather because there's already hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of shields. I don't think there's anything I can contribute to that, to the field, to the Feather ecosystem that isn't just a redo. New Tiny Pico shields. Well, I still haven't released my IO expander, which is just ridiculous now. Okay, this is bordering on the point of stupidity. This is my IO expander. I've got a whole bunch of them packed, ready to ship. And all it takes is for me to merge Mike's MicroPython library for it and to finish off the Arduino library. That is all I need to do. And it's been sitting there for, what, feels like 9 months now. So that's my IO expander that I haven't even done a store page for it yet, which is really annoying. It's funny, I'm a couple of minutes behind, but you're saying the exact same thing I say every day about time. Yeah, exactly. It's times. Yeah. Thanks, Johnny. Does that make all sense to you? Is Adafruit treating you right? I get quite a bit of parts from both of them. Yeah, absolutely. Adafruit are great. They really are. They really are. They're really easy to work with. I mean, their onboarding process for selling to them is pretty intimidating. I'll just put my hand up and say that. But I guess once you get past it the first time, it becomes easier. But yeah, no, Adafruit are great. I mean, they really promote and are helpful to other people, considering that it's, their core business is their own products, really. Yeah, they're really great. Having a BOM open source is really useful. Also, knowing what LDOs, etc. people use, so useful. Yeah, having a BOM is useful. It's the one thing that I don't do. It's the one thing I don't do for two reasons. Okay, this is back to exactly the thing, right? So I put the part numbers on my schematics. It's not like people can't find the part. Giving them a BOM makes it that much easier for them to, so the whole point of open sourcing isn't about them making their own version of my board, as in manufacturing my board so they don't have to buy it off me. That's not what open source is about. And giving someone the BOM, specifically the BOM, enables that. I don't hide the part numbers. I don't obfuscate it out. I'm very clear what the part numbers are. If they have to do a bit of extra work to get the parts, to build it, okay, that's on them. I feel like, yeah, does that make sense? It's that last line of, here is everything, go manufacture it. My new coffee cup is actually good. My coffee's still warm. We're almost 2 hours, and my it's not cold. It's not hot anymore, but yeah. Hey, Helmet. Not finished your ADDA and IO expander either. Yeah, I can't get anything done. Anyway, I feel really bad about this. I don't know how many I made. Hang on. Now I'm curious. What have I got? I don't have a huge amount. I should just release them. I should release them and say, hey, the code is untested. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I've only got 10 made. I've got 10 made and packed, even with cards. Look at that. Cards. And I don't know if you remember, some of you might remember, I've got a batch of them that I had the pin numbering wrong, that they were numbered from 1 to 16 instead of 0 to 15. That's the only difference, is the pin numbering on the board, and the card is wrong. So I've got a stack of those as well. And I was going to sell these for cheap. But I've got a few of them. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 of them. I got 14 of these. For fellow maker, having a schematic and a bomb is very useful, but not the PCB layouts. That's something you learn more by experimenting with. Right, but if you have this schematic that has the part names on them, the part codes, what do you need the bomb? See, when I've had people ask me for the bomb, they're asking me for the name and where I get them from. Like the link to where I buy them. That's what they expect inside the bomb. Yeah? Well, that's basically giving someone my manufacturing guide. So what do you reckon? Should I just release these and say, here's the code, it's mostly... the code's beta? Release them with beta code? Should I do that? Yaz is asking if anyone's got questions for her. Fire away. The Tony Pico wouldn't work in the coffee because it doesn't run Java. That is really funny. That's really cool. Quixotic Geek, right. Are you aware that you have to open source your design now? By doing that? Right, they're asking for the LCSC part numbers. They're asking for where they can buy the parts from. But Mark, that's exactly the bit that is enabling people to go that last step to manufacture it, right? And that's the bit that I stop on. So yeah, and that's, I don't know. I don't think having a bomb is part of the open source requirement. The open source is about learning and leveraging. It's not about making. Does that make sense? Yeah, all good. I'm just asking, like, you know, because a lot of people don't realize that when they take bits of people's open source stuff, they need to republish, depending on the license, they need to republish what they make from it. And generating a bomb is not hard. And technically you can generate a bomb from Eagle, just export the file. But you're not asking for a bomb, you're asking for the supplier codes, not the part codes. That's not a bomb. That's a shopping list. And that's something I'm not going to provide. And if that's something that you find useful, great. You can do the work yourself to get that. I'm not saying you specifically, Mark, but I'm saying, you know what I mean? If you're after the part codes from the supplier specifically, you do that work. That's not for me to give you, because that's your job, right? I don't get why you think having the part numbers is more useful than the Gerber files. I'm not saying it's more useful. I'm saying it's that one last step. I mean, if someone wants to go and get some tiny Pico boards made, get some made. I mean, like, really, like, it's a waste of money. Like, it'll cost you more to get them to make a tiny Pico yourself than it's going to cost you to buy off me, even with shipping, right? Unless you're making them in massive quantities, it's not cost effective. But it's about the work to do it. Very hard to get the last of the coffee out, sorry. Does that make sense? Okay, yeah, anyway. In terms of other shields, hey Alex, the Tiny LED Matrix, are you here still? I don't know if you're still here because it's late. If you are still here, wave your hand for a second. I want to say something. Will this conversation be removed by YouTube with all of this talk about... yeah, please don't, Yaz. I don't know what you're talking about. Sorry, but please don't. Oh, right. I see what you're saying. Yes, there was no need to put that word. I hope not. The fact is, you're the only one that's used that word right now, Yaz. So maybe it will now. I put paper towns on my Gerbers so I can spot if someone used them. But how would you know if someone used them unless they show them in a video or show you the board or something? That's an interesting thing. Ideal. Yeah, but I agree with also the design files, like as in like the board layout. So Gerbers, I don't know why I published the Gerbers. I probably shouldn't have published the Gerbers. I don't know, whatever. I just felt like it was the right thing to do. I think it's important to publish the board file. If you're open sourcing, you need to publish the board file and the schematic, in my mind. Schematic only does not make something open. Because I'm okay for people to learn about how I route stuff and how I do things on the board. I mean, there's one thing about learning how to design what components to use, and there's another how to actually lay it out. So the PCB layout is important, but Gerbers, sure. I mean, but if someone's got the PCB layout, they can make their own Gerbers. So that's why I released the Gerbers. It didn't make any sense for not do it. Catch you later, Shivraj. Thanks for joining. If someone published an open source design for other hobbyists to build, then an Octopart bomb link is quite useful. Right, but it's not an open source project for other makers to build. Or hobbyists to build. It's the files are there, then everyone can build. It becomes the intent is irrelevant. It's for other makers. Well, the license doesn't say that. The license doesn't prevent someone from using it and doing whatever they want with it, right? I mean, the license might, but how do you police the license? I just feel like, again, providing the supplier links is one step too far. So that's why I don't do it. Because you can make the Gerbers anyway. You've got my Eagle file, you can make the Gerbers. So it makes no sense. By not releasing the Gerbers, I'm not preventing you from making my Gerbers. Right? I use CERN for hardware and MIT for software. But Gerbers isn't a shopping list. I'm not giving you the link on JLC PCB or Osh Park to reorder my board, right? But giving you the supplier part codes is a shopping list. That's different. Like, you can work. Why do I release the PCB designs? I just said that. Are you not listening, Mark? Because it's important for people to learn about PCB layout as much as it is about schematic design. It's all about learning, right? I mean, I learnt a lot of my routing and design, good and bad, right? How to and how not to, from looking at other people's routed boards. And that's what it's for. Hey, Tiny LED Matrix is still there. So someone was asking about what shields, any other Tiny Pico shield, and so I remembered. So on MakerCast, you showed your little Featherwing 1515 display, and it reminded me on MakerCast that I was going to make some of yours, and I never did. And not only, I don't know where they are. I have a reel, at least a reel, of 1515s I bought to make some of your boards. Do you remember? And I totally forgot all about it. So yeah, I can chat with you offline again. But if you're still keen, for those that don't know what I'm talking about, Alex Tiny LED Matrix made a little feather wing that's got the 1515 RGB addressable LEDs, little display. He designed one for the Tiny Pico, but he was never going to make it. He didn't want to make it. Didn't want to hand place them all. I said I might manufacture a short one of them if people want some, and I never did. Well, I will. I'm going to, if he still wants me to. FPGA OSIC, you can protect the FPGA schematic software. The rest is open source. Yeah, I don't play in that space, so I'm not really sure what the right etiquette is, I guess, for that. I did build some tiny Picos. Certainly it was not cheaper. But if I had my labour costs, we were talking much more expensive. But it was fun to learn. Right, so there are people that are out there building tiny Picos, right? And I know there are people out there building tiny Picos. That's going to happen when you release the files. You know, and whether I did the Gerbers or not, it doesn't matter because you can still generate the Gerbers from the design files. Not Jay Wolf. Why is it on your recommended? I don't know, but welcome. If you're into electronics and stuff, stick around. If you're not, maybe don't know why. Yeah. Danny built it to stop the LED blinking. Yeah. Well, I've still got blinking LEDs. Sorry. There's actually no way to stop the LED blinking other than to not have it. By putting anything on the board that stops the LED blinking, you're affecting the charge circuitry. So, yeah. Even if I stack a little MOSFET on there that, you know, to an I/O that lets the user turn it off blinking if they don't want it to blink, that's still going to affect the charge circuitry. Hey, listen, I'm hearing you in a playlist of anime, op songs, or design board. Good combination. Awesome. Cool. I always consider Gerbers and PCB design files to be the same thing. I know they're not, but I call both of them Gerbers most of the time. Yeah, they're not the same thing. Yeah, that's a cool use of an Arduino. But what do you need your scale to not to go to sleep? Doesn't it run off battery? Is it going to run out quickly if you do that? A whole reel, yeah. Okay, I'll make some more then, Alex. Cool. I'll make some. I'll order some boards. I'll do a short run. Yeah, I actually need to order a couple more reels of them. I've got a project I'm working on. They are expensive, those LEDs, unfortunately. Really expensive, which is really frustrating. But no different to working with the APAs, which are already expensive. Paint the LED with some black paint. Sure. Stick a sticker over it, I guess. It's USB, still goes to sleep every 2 minutes. Yeah, that's annoying. If it's being powered not from battery and it falls asleep. Did the first ever bit of Arduino programming on the weekend and you regret it since, right? The 1515s are still using the same WS2812B standard, or they're SK6812s. So they're still using exactly the same. They're just really small. I don't want to open the reel and lose one. I don't know where the reel is. Somewhere on the couch, I think. But yeah. And I'd like to make a new. I've been planning on making a new play shield, which I've mentioned I've started already, and I just haven't got anywhere with. But I want to. So, my Tiny Pico play shield, which was very popular, but I don't want to make anymore because they're really difficult to make. Again, it's a time reward thing, but it is ripe for. I've already started a redesign using one of these screens. So that's a black and white LCD, so 128 by 64, and that is a full color 240 by 240 IPS screen. I want to make a new play shield for the Tiny Pico with that screen, which I've already started. I want to make the play shield a fraction bigger. It was supposed to be small, it's cute, and you got little buttons on there, but I want to, yeah, a little bit bigger, a couple more buttons, make it like a D-pad on one side. Not really designed to be a gaming thing. There's stacks of gaming things already done, but I'd like to do that, and I want to make it, and of course it will, well it should I know it will, work with the Pro S2, because the first 10 pins on each side of the Pro S2 are Tiny Pico compatible, but it needs to sit. But it sits like this, right? So the board sticks up the top because of the length of the board. So I might make it just a fraction bigger. Can you link? This sounds interesting. What are we talking about? Link to what? I did my first ever bit of CircuitPython 6 programming last week on SP/S2 nonetheless. Awesome, Johnny. Yeah, I'm still struggling with CircuitPython just in general because my mind is in MicroPython, and so I keep writing MicroPython and CircuitPython, and there's some fundamental differences. So it keeps tripping me up all the time, and I keep having to go to the Learn Guide to learn stuff for CircuitPython. Oh, that was okay. Cool. Sorry, Exotic Geek. Yep. Did I fix my slow boot? No, it's still got that slow boot. So yeah, the Feather S2 takes about. Where's my Feather S2 gone? Let me plug it in. Yay! So I'm gonna plug it in. So there is something. If I plug it in, you see the power light comes on. And it takes about 5 seconds before the APA goes. And it also restarts. I'm not sure if you saw that. Let me do that again. So plug it in. It takes about 5 seconds before it starts cycling. And then you see it cycle, it gets to bluish green, and then it stops and starts again. So there are two issues with, I mean, that's it, right? But there are two issues right now. One is this slow boot time, because the same thing like with MicroPython takes less than 2 seconds, and then the same thing with CircuitPython on another board that isn't ESP32 or isn't CircuitPython 6 also starts within 2 seconds. So there's that delay, which I'm trying to look into, but I don't know the guts of CircuitPython that well. And there's also that restart, which I've put an issue in there, and they're going to look into it, and hopefully that'll get addressed. It's not restarting the board, it's just restarting the code.py once the USB initializes. So for those that don't know how CircuitPython works, right? So if I go back to here, so I've plugged that in, and what I have now is I have a drive called CircuitPy, and this is my code. So code.py is this file here. Yeah, I've got a Feather S2.py, which is like a library helper for the Feather S2, and every board I ship has some test results. So thanks for buying a Feather S2. Can everyone see that? I don't think I can make it bigger. Let me see if I can make it bigger. There you go. So I put the test results on every board that goes to the test jig. So it shows you the date and time that it was tested, MAC address of the machine. True, it's a Mac problem. Possibly your Mac is writing to the drive, so thinks code.py has been updated. Yes, but that never happened in beta 0. And so that was introduced like in beta 1 at some point. They did make some changes to Tiny USB or something in beta 1, and that's caused this. So yeah, basically the drive, it's a flash drive. That's how CircuitPython works. That's why there's been no CircuitPython for the ESP32, because it doesn't have native USB. This requires native USB. So you plug it in as a flash drive, and that's it. You edit your code on the drive. You either copy your files onto, or you literally open them in Visual Studio Code or whatever else in code, which is really cool. Yeah, it doesn't do that on Sawala. Yeah, it's not the board or the operating system. It's definitely 6.1. What happens if you power it off 5 volt only? Well, then you don't get the USB connection. You need to have USB connected. But yeah, I can... If I unplug it, I'm going to get an error now saying board was ejected because it's a flash drive. So it's the usual same stuff. I don't have a separate 5 volt that I can plug in from here. Oops. I just realized I don't even have the right screen on. I just unplugged it. Obviously battery works. Right, but here's the boot, but you see here, it doesn't restart. It's something to do with the USB that makes it restart. I didn't eject safely. Yes, I know. Oh, you're on 6 beta 2. Oh, sorry. Hang on, wait. You're Sawala using native USB? I don't know if I've got... Okay, I'll put it on here. So you're connecting USB to the pins, right? To 19 and 20? Well, it's definitely happening here. It's happening on more than one Mac. So... And it's not my Mac. Yeah. You can make a thing for a friend, and if there's an update, send them a file and say, put this on. Absolutely. Yeah, you don't have to reflash firmware or REPL to it, you know, with R shell or something. It's very user friendly, which is why CircuitPython has gone down that road. It's all about, you know, Adafruit are all about user friendly, easy onboarding and learning for people, and CircuitPython really does that. To try a Mac for fun, but then shoot yourself. Don't be like that. UF2 is neat, but UF2 doesn't have the APA support yet, so I'm not shipping with the UF2. I will eventually. So you've got the little blue LED that turns on and off every cycle. Whoop. So analog in, reading analog is still missing. It's being worked on at the moment. Hopefully that'll come out in beta 3 or maybe beta 4. So right now you can't read the ambient light sensor in CircuitPython. You can in Arduino though. Yeah, okay, just very quickly before I wrap up, I am building Flynn a Gravity Tracks marble lift. Let me go back to here. I'm not going to be able to easily put it together and show it. It's got to be glued together still. But basically, it uses all of these. It comes in different sizes. So like you stack these up together, right? Glue them together. That's the top bit. Where's the base? Right, that's the bottom. And then you get lots of stuff in here. It's a bit tricky to put together. I mean, once it's glued, it's fine. So there's a little thing there, and then this goes on like that. So I've only just temporarily wired this up. It's not soldered right now, but come on. Oh, totally the wrong way. And you've got all these side things that go around it that hold the balls, and so the ball comes in the side and gets caught into this thing, and then I've just got a battery pack right now. And it sits there turning, and it lifts the balls up. Put this on an angle, it might fall. And so it lifts the balls up, and then the ball gets to one of these things, which has got a hole, right? So let's say that was sitting there, right? The ball would get to the top bit and then come out, and you put your track over there. So it basically means that he can make something and it goes all the way down and comes up to the bottom and then lifts itself up again. So this is someone else's design, or it's bits and pieces of a few different designs. And I'm experimenting with this. I'm going to build this with him so we can use it, but I've got a redesign of this planned. And of course, I want it to have RGB LED lights, because you need that, and other stuff with it. So, yeah. So I only finished printing the pieces for this yesterday, actually. I needed a couple more of these returns. So I'm going to glue it together probably today. I don't know how long the batteries will last. And as I said, I mean, these are not soldered. You can see here they're just twisted around. Maybe you can see. Maybe you can't see. They're just twisted around right now because I wasn't sure which way was positive or negative because the batteries aren't marked. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. So that's exciting. So I've only printed enough for one right now. That was a terrible wiring job. So I want to get this finished. I need to glue it, and it takes many hours for the glue to set. So, and I want to see that put in place and see how it goes. Lots of LEDs. Catch you later, Ross. Thanks for joining. Okay, everyone, I've been going for over 2 hours. I think it is time to wrap this up. Unless anyone's got any other questions for me, or any other questions for Yaz. Not sure. The swallow seems to boot right into the LED flashing. Takes a bit before window recognises the drive. Yeah, so my Mac also, it doesn't show the drive till after the RGB is going. So, yeah, I don't know why there's a delay. It shouldn't be such a delay. The delay's been there the whole time, by the way. But the restart is new in Beta 1, which worked. So Beta 0 didn't have the restart. Beta 1 does have the restart. All of the version 6 have had the slow to boot thing. So I don't know what that's about. Jay. Hello, Jay. PNP news I missed. I bought an N8. I bought a Neod N8. I'm not going to have it till probably end of November, unfortunately, but I bought a Neod N8. So it's happening. The transition to more reliable pick and place line, automated line, is happening. N8, conveyor, oven, automated. Still manual stenciling and placing, which sucks, but that's okay. What happens to the Charm High? Unknown yet. There is no deep sleep wake yet with CircuitPython. I know Deep Sleep's been working on. Has that been merged? Bruce, do you know if that's been merged? So CircuitPython's brand new. This is the first time CircuitPython's been on ESP32. When 6 releases, as in official stable, it's still going to be beta for ESP32, right? Brand new ESP32 support. So it's going to take some time to be fully robust. But Arduino is still being actively worked on. So you'll have full Arduino and obviously IDF. And work has begun with MicroPython to convert the whole build pipeline to CMake, which is the first important step to be supporting all of the ESP32 SX and beyond range. So that work, Damien's been done a lot of work to getting CMake up and running. It's not quite there yet, but it's close. So once that's done, that's going to make supporting the future ESP32s much easier than it is right now. Yeah, I know there was a USB change between Beta 0 and Beta 1. Hey, Technolog, it's going good, but I'm going to be winding up. So going forward, I'm a CP guy. No, well, always been an everything guy. I'm still very much entrenched in the MicroPython space. I don't have a preference one over the other. I'm way more comfortable with MicroPython. I've been using it for way longer. And they both got their advantages and disadvantages for different people, for different projects, right? Much quicker to get up and running with CircuitPython. Forget about ESP32, just in general, and a beautiful, rich set of libraries out there for a massive, range of hardware. So that's great. But if you want really low-level stuff, if you want to, utilize all of the features of the peripherals on a particular micro, then you need to be in MicroPython land. So yeah, different uses for different things, I think. Well, CP don't have the lead on the S2. They're the only player in town on the S2. So it's not the lead. And the fact is there aren't many S2 boards out there right now. I mean, if there's so many just general ESP32s out there, and MicroPython's your only option. So, and the same with 8266, which still get used massively. Deep Sleep works in MicroPython. MicroPython's fully featured for the ESP32. There's just no S2 specific yet, but there will. It'll come. And just like CircuitPython will get Deep Sleep and everything else, it'll get there, right? I mean, Damien's and Jim have been working on MicroPython for ESP32 for years and years and years. CircuitPython's brand new for ESP32, so it's going to take some time. Yeah, Deep Sleep's close. I'm sorry you have insomnia. I'm not sure CircuitPython will help you with their deep sleep. Mike's got coffee. I'm going to go get myself another coffee. I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you all for joining. Thanks to those that did the super chats. Really appreciate it. It's a good chat today. Thank you. And thank you all for being okay with the fact that I had no project specific to work on. But yeah, I'm going to crank that up. I'm going to pack orders and then I'm going to crank that up. I haven't looked to see if any orders came in while I was on the stream. Should I quickly look now to see if any orders came in? I'll quickly look now. Although everyone's going, the numbers are dropping. That's okay. Yep, had some orders come in and don't have enough S2s to fill them. Yay! As I said, I only had the 2-pack and a single pack left. So I'm going to go get a coffee. I'm going to shut this down, go get a coffee, load up the pick and place machine, and start making more S2s. Awesome. Thanks, everyone. Don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Wow, I feel like it's a video. And I hope you have a fantastic week. I will catch you all later. Thanks, everyone.